Hi folks, today's episode is about real Christmas trees and about how you can get one instead of having an artificial tree each year. Now I'm going to be putting this away soon because we've just gone past Christmas, and so all of this is going to be packed away. And what we've got here is a real Christmas tree. We've been using this for around about 3 years now, rather than getting a fake tree. And what we did was we bought a tree that was probably about this tall initially for approximately, I think it was £40, around about £40 when we bought it new. And that was from a garden centre. Now this is a rooted tree, so we've got it stored in a pot. And we keep this tree outside all year long until we bring it indoors for Christmas. The way that we keep it a reasonable size is by having a fairly restricted pot for it to grow in. So we didn't give it a lot of space. But what we do during the year is we make sure that it gets a good liquid feed throughout the year so that it's getting the nutrients that it wants as well as getting the water it needs. But because the roots are restricted in the pot, it doesn't grow as quickly as another tree would. So we've managed to keep the height of the tree fairly reduced, and it's only grown a little bit upwards in the 3 years we've had it. It's grown a bit outwards, but not a huge amount upwards. And so what this means is that we're able to bring this same tree in every year and decorate it. We just make sure that it's got a bit of water during the month that we roughly have it indoors for. We make sure that we acclimatise it to coming indoors. So rather than coming straight from outdoors here into the warmer environment where we've got central heating, which is obviously going to be a little bit of a culture shock for it, we keep it in a halfway house, so an unheated outhouse. So it's not as cold as it is outside, but it's not as warm as it is in here. So we leave it there to acclimatise for a few days before bringing it in here, and that makes sure that it doesn't go and drop all its needles through the change of temperature. And then we've got this lovely tree we use to hang up our decorations. It's not an artificial tree, so that's great. We didn't need to go out and buy a replacement artificial one. We've got a real tree. And one of the things that we've done this year is we've looked out for decorations that are made from sustainable materials. So we've got some paper decorations over here, and they're paper balls, and we've also got some stars that are also made from paper. So rather than that going to waste, they've been used to make decorations. Now we do still have some of our older long-term decorations that maybe weren't environmentally friendly when we purchased them. As I say on a lot of the videos that I'm doing, this is a journey for us, and it should be the same for you. Don't feel bad about the fact that you've got decorations that might not be fully recyclable or sustainable because you've got them from the past. You can't do anything about that. The best way to make those as sustainable as possible is to use them for as long as you can. Get the most value out of them before having to throw them away. So don't feel bad about that. You've already got them. But the thing is, for new ones, is to look out for ones which are going to be more sustainable. So that's why we've got these paper ones that are made from recycled paper, and we're going to be able to use those again and again and then recycle them again when we've finished using them. So that's the best scenario there. Now, other things you can do, renting Christmas trees. Now, it's not the cheapest option.
Now, when it comes to renting a Christmas tree, I found a really good article from Country Living, and I'll include a link down below, and that talks about the process of renting and interviews various people that are involved in the industry. What they're saying here is that it's reported that between 6 and 8 million real Christmas trees head to landfill in the UK every year. Now, I think this is largely because people will buy trees that don't have roots, they've been cut off, and they are just able to then last for the season before they're being dispensed with. Now, this means that a lot of trees are ending their useful life at that point and are then being sent into landfill, where obviously they will decompose, especially if they've been chipped down beforehand, and they will then decompose and re-enter the environment that way, but they will be releasing gases as they are decomposing. Now, that's not as good, in my opinion, as having a rooted tree that is going to keep growing year after year and bringing in CO2 every year. It's just a really good thing to have, that real live Christmas tree. They're talking to somebody from a company called Cotswold Fir, who developed a sustainable renter Christmas tree scheme. They're saying that the environmental benefits of renting a Christmas tree are that there's zero tree waste because the tree does not die in the new year, so it's not having to be sent to landfill. And they're also saying about in between Christmases, the rented trees can be replanted if necessary, and they can be cared for by the supplier and ready again for next year's use. The trees provide habitats for wildlife in between festivities. The trees remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Clearly, they're growing trees that are going to be removing CO2, releasing O2. The trees are pot grown, so there's less need for fertilizer because the amount can be more targeted to the individual tree. Now, generally, you're supporting a local business because they are local firms. They can't deliver over a wide area, and it's not environmentally sound then. You need to have a low delivery threshold so that you're getting the most environmental benefit out of these. So the company that they've interviewed here, that's based in Bristol in the UK, have a range of around about 20 to 40 miles that they will be delivering from a couple of different bases, but they're not going beyond that. They're keeping it hyper-local. You know exactly where the tree has been grown, and so can guarantee its carbon footprint and travel footprint. Exactly. You know where it's grown. You know how far it's travelled. Now, the price of renting a Christmas tree. So you need to pay a damage deposit, which is going to be around about £15 to £20, and that is a refundable deposit if there's no damage to the tree when it's been returned. The prices at this particular company, Cotswold Fir, they start at about £40 for a 3-foot tree, up to £65 for a 7-foot tree. So you're counting at around about £10 per foot to rent a tree. So a 4-foot tree is going to be about £40 to rent. Also, you'll need to pay a delivery cost if you're not going and picking it up yourself, and that will tend to be around about £20. So this is all mounting up on that cost, but obviously you are renting a tree. You don't need to keep it at your house if you don't have space. You're not having to throw it away. So if you're able to afford to do this, it's a really good option. Now, how does it work? They say that you locate your nearest Christmas tree rental service, and you should always get a tree from a local grower so it doesn't have to travel far and counteract the environmental benefits of getting one in. Now, you can choose your tree from the various size options. As you say, you pay your deposit and then you pay the cost of the tree and the delivery. Obviously, you can collect the tree if you're able to. They're saying to abide by the care rules. So you've got to water it every day, keep it away from heat sources, so not near a radiator, and having it inside for 3.5 weeks for the Christmas period. Country Living is saying to stay on the eco theme by decorating it with plastic and glitter-free decorations, and also surrounding it with presents wrapped in recyclable eco wrapping paper. Now, I have done a video on this before, and I'll include a link up above about how I wrap my presents in newspaper and use string to make it nice and decorative. Take a look at that if that's of interest to you. Now, they're also saying here that renting a pot-grown Christmas tree has other advantages for the environment. It's less resource intensive than growing on the land because the grower can give each pot the right amount of fertilizer. And here's an indication of some of the rental prices that they have in this photo. So it's £25 for a 3-foot tree, up to £45 for a 7-foot tree. They talk about a few different locations where they're available, and I'll include the link to this article down below so that you can see. This is what I've looked at from a quick search in Google for rent Christmas tree, and I can see that there are some around from Birmingham, Cambridge, above Watford, Gloucestershire, the one that I talked about near Bristol, and there's a few around London. So there you go. That's what you can do if you want to rent a Christmas tree because you don't have space for keeping a real tree throughout the rest of the year. It's not the cheapest to be doing. You're probably going to be paying, including the deposit and delivery, you'd need to probably have around about £70 to £80 for that tree. But obviously you'll get the deposit back, and if you can get it delivered as well, then your cost will just be the cost of the tree, which will range between around about £30 to £60, £70. It's something that you could consider if you have those funds available.
So remember, you don't need to rush out to replace your artificial tree. Keep using it as long as you can. And that's the same for any decorations you've got that maybe aren't sustainable or recyclable. Keep using them as long as you can so you can get the most use out of them. But when you come to change, look for sustainable options. A real Christmas tree, if you can. Renting one might be an option. And also look for decorations that are going to be sustainable, such as paper ones that are made from recycled paper. So there you go, folks. That's a quick little video about what we did when we needed to get rid of our artificial Christmas tree and the fact we replaced it with a real one. I hope you found that useful. If you did, then please click the like button down below. If you haven't done so already, why not subscribe to the channel for more hints and tips? Well, thanks for watching, folks. Until next time, bye!